Today I'm flying for 12 hours in first class on one of the longest Air France flights. I'll show you exactly what it's like to fly Le Première, from having my own bedroom in the sky to what the onboard dining is like. It doesn't stop there though. Before you're even driven over to your plane, yes, this is a thing, you get access to a private lounge where even the bathroom has a chandelier. This really is the closest you can come to flying privately, but with costs running into the tens of thousands, it's reserved for just a lucky few. Well, let's change that. I invite you on board with me to lift the veil on this elite and mysterious world. Oh, and before we begin, I just want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video. My story starts at London Heathrow on a crisp winter's morning at 6 AM. It's thankfully just a short 1 hour hop over to Paris on Air France business class, where I'm met off my plane by a Le Première representative. This is my host, who will guide me through passport control, my own private security channel, and into one of the world's most exclusive airport lounges. Of this lounge is that you can eat wherever, so it's not necessarily that you need to go and eat in the restaurant over there. I've set up camp here because I think it's just really quite beautiful. After checking out the extensive breakfast and dinner menus, I boldly put in a dinner order at 9 AM.
A few minutes later.
My table is meticulously set, complete with the cutest mini baguette. Here we go, the steak. I'm also surprised that you're given a knife like that at an airport. The steak is cooked to my preference, medium rare, and it's served with mashed potatoes and spinach. It was honestly up there as my top 3 steaks I've ever had. Absolute perfection. Well, if we're basically having a lunch menu, may as well. Check this out. Can we just recognise how mental that glass is? Look at this. Let's go and have a look around the rest of the lounge. So I thought I'd pop over here by the window, because whilst we can't see over to the runway, what you can see is what we're going to be doing in just a second, being driven to our plane in a luxury car. Do you think I'm excited? Right, that's my bags packed, ready to go. As this isn't a normal flight, there's no need for me to go anywhere near the main terminal. Instead, I'm escorted directly out onto the tarmac. And as I've alluded to, I've been told I can choose which car I want, but I have a feeling that this has got to be the one. Wow, would you look at this? Wow, where do I start? Right, here we are. Oh, sorry. Thank you so much. The really unique thing about being driven to your plane is exactly that. There's the car, and here's the plane. How incredible is this? Leave the Audi behind and go get on board. Goodness me, this is so exciting. Right then, just before we get on board, here's a quick word from today's video sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace make it super easy for you to set up and host a website. This isn't the 1990s where you have to know complicated coding. Squarespace really have this down, handling it all from the domain name through to the design, hosting, social media linking, and even your search engine optimization. The best bit is Squarespace are offering you a free trial and 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Just head over to squarespace.com/TrekTrendy and use the coupon code TrekTrendy. Thanks again Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Right, let's get on board this Boeing 777, currently the only aircraft offering Air France first class. It's super exclusive, being just one row, and the best bit?
You can choose your seat because you will be alone today.
Let's stow my luggage over seat 1 Alpha. I think I'm going to sit here for takeoff, being the aviation geek seat of choice, of course. So it's welcome on board Le Premier. I am so excited to be back in this amazing cabin. As I've said, I've been here once before, but this is a much longer flight today. You may have spied already the pre-departure champagne on offer, which is a delicious Le Grand Dame 2008, served with cranberries and cashews. And what's that, you ask? It's a scented warm towel, of course. Right, I've come up with a suitable plan for this empty cabin. So the really cool thing about today is I'm going to be having this here as my base to eat and drink, and over there will be my designated sleeping area. It's not long before we push back from stand and begin our taxi over to the runway. Let's get my seatbelt on as the safety video begins to screen, complemented of course by some more champagne. CDG is a huge airport, and it's quite some time before we make it over to the runway. Finally in position, we hurtle down the asphalt and up into the French mid-morning sunshine. Our flight today will take roughly 12.5 hours and over 9,000 kilometers to Mexico City. Now we're at altitude, I think it's time to take a look around this gorgeous cabin. The suites are laid out in a 1-2-1 configuration, each having their own floor-to-ceiling privacy curtains. Window seats get control over the 4 portholes, with blinds descending at the touch of a button. There's also this privacy screen, which I don't really see the use of given that you have a curtain, and there's a dimmable lamp right next to your seat. Middle suites are ideal for a couple, or if you randomly have a twin joining you, but should you not score the middle seat as a couple, there's a buddy dining facility, allowing couples to dine together, which is a lovely touch. All this talk of dining has got me hungry again. Let's check out the extensive Le Premier Dine on Demand menu. Standouts are naturally the caviar, lobster and beef tenderloin for me, but what would you choose? As with the lounge, my table is meticulously adorned with silverware and a variety of fine dining accoutrements. But it's what comes next I'm excited for: caviar, presented traditionally with cream and blinis. It's a rare treat for me, but certainly not to everyone's taste. Unlike Lufthansa, AF provide a mother-of-pearl spoon. This is tradition when eating caviar, as apparently metal taints the taste. I can't say I've ever noticed, but again, I'm not an expert. With my appetizer polished off, it's time for my starter of langoustine, aka Norwegian lobster. This was phenomenal. The alternative starter was the foie gras, though it's not to my taste for an array of reasons. Next, I opt for the create your own salad, with the direction to the lovely cabin crew member of surprise me. I therefore got everything, but it tasted fresh and a good break in between all this rich dining. A short breather later, and it's time for the main event, the steak. Unfortunately, this is where my impeccable Le Premier experience went somewhat off track. Tucking into this is like cutting into a leather boot. It was cremated beyond recognition and frankly poor. It's a shame, as in AF's business class, I've had a fantastic medium rare steak presented to me before. Oh well. To close, I'll opt for the cheese plate. Being a French airline, I feel this is a must. The selection was solid, but I did struggle to eat it all. I suppose that's the downside of having 2 lunches at this point. With lunch service concluded, it's time to boot my Tims off. These can be stored in the nifty drawer under the buddy dining seat. Let's get my slippers on, grab the provided PJs and head to the bathroom. There is one F bathroom at the front of the Le Premier cabin. It's not the largest, but it's spotlessly clean, adorned with Sotheby's amenities. Let's unpack the PJ folio then. I do like these, they're smart and naturally they're Le Premier branded. I'm wearing a large here, which was quite baggy, but I prefer a looser fit. Let's head back to my suite then, stowing the pyjama detritus at my seat. So of course I'm all nicely dressed for bed, well I say bed, for some sleep. I am quite tired as it was a really early start, but what the unique thing is because I've got the whole cabin to myself, I've got my bed made up at the other end of the cabin. So with that said, let's leave our dining area and head over to the bedroom. Wow, just look at this. I say bedroom, but it's not really that far off. Every detail has been taken care of by the lovely FA. Crisp pressed Egyptian cotton and ample fluffy pillows. An afternoon nap is certainly in order. I'll get those slippers off and hop into this cloud-like bed. Thanks to the mattress topper, it's super squashy and an absolute dream on a long-haul flight. Here's Le Premier's party trick then. One of only 2 first-class products with floor-to-ceiling privacy. These curtains. Almost cocooning you in your own private space. Right, enough chat, it's time for sleep. Good night all.
Many hours later.
Well, that was a wonderful sleep. I feel thoroughly relaxed, and it certainly helps having the entire place to yourself. That bedding as well, I mean, as you can see, it is next level. I'm presented with a DC and some chocolate orange sticks, which wake me up a tad. I think we should check out the in-flight entertainment. AF provide Denon noise cancelling headphones. They're high quality and successfully soften the cabin noise. But what to watch? Well, thankfully the selection is pretty good, and within a few minutes of browsing, I settle on 300. What a movie. After an hour or so, I make it time to try out the second dinner service. Let's whip that menu out again. Of course, it's a different selection, but I'm told I can choose another item off the previous menu if I wish. After placing my order, a much needed caffeine hit arrives at my seat. Thankfully, AF have a proper cappuccino machine on board, which is most appreciated. Shortly after, my table is set, and the various culinary accoutrements assemble yet again on my tray table. So what have I gone for? I start off with a refreshing quinoa and sweet potato salad, followed by an artichoke heart, a welcome change from my heavy and rich earlier meals. This, however, is about to change. I've ordered the cannelloni off the lunch menu, complete with a rich tomato and mascarpone sauce. It of course went down swimmingly, cooked to perfection, which is no easy feat at 40,000 feet. Now, dessert. I opted for the chocolate finger, served with raspberry sauce, complementing the chocolate spectacularly. With that, I think it's time to get changed out of my PJs. I can't spend the whole day lounging around. What would my mother say? I'll fish my clothing out of the in-seat wardrobe, and with that, let's head back over to the bathroom to freshen up. Much better. Or I must have a quick spray of rehydration water. Back to my seat I go, and it's time to get those Tims back on. Given we're not all that far from Mexico City, as they're hot on these being completed properly, and I don't fancy using a communal pen at the border control. Just as I finish, the seatbelt sign is turned on and we begin our descent down into the early Mexican afternoon. And with that, my Le Premier experience is over. Well, a full 12 hours on board, I am, to be fair, ready to get off and go and explore CDMX. As I deplane, I'm met by an Air France representative who escorts me over to passport control. Unfortunately, there's no fast track, so after a further hour, I'm finally admitted into the country. Welcome to Mexico City. What an epic journey that was. 12 hours in La Première Air France First Class. I hope you've enjoyed coming along today for the journey. Do let me know what you think, as always, down in the comments below, and I'll catch you all again next week. Thanks once again to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/trektrendy to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.